Hi there, and welcome to the 5-Minute Meditator Part 3. Today we're going to be looking at some of the problems many of you have told me about whilst you're sitting in meditation. Most of them, well, have to do with the physical act of meditation itself. So let's deal with that first. When you sit for the very first time, for extended periods of time, it's not unusual to experience aches and pains and other phenomena. The first one on the list is, of course, difficulty getting into the posture. If you're practicing sitting cross-legged or kneeling on a cushion on the floor for upwards of 20 minutes, then sure, you're going to get some aches and pains and find it difficult getting and maintaining the posture. If this is the case and you don't wish to persist getting into those postures, then it's more appropriate to sit in a chair. I've discussed this in episode 2, so if you're not sure what I'm talking about, just go back there, have a look at the 5-Minute Meditator Part 2 and you'll see what I'm on about. Sometimes flexibility can be an issue. If that's the case, then some sort of little stretching is recommended, light stretching. I always stretch my legs before a lengthy period of sitting, and I use this time to actually focus on bodily sensations as I'm performing the stretch, and it sets the tone for the sitting period beautifully. In a future episode, I'm going to get a demonstration of a yoga technique known as Salutation to the Sun. It's a great yogic technique for stretching the whole body. We all get aches and pains while sitting. Even the most accomplished meditator will tell you that. If it's mild pain, just focus on the pain, embrace the sensation, and then let it go. Observing pain is a useful way of dissipating the power that it's having over you, and you'll see that it's just another sensation. If it is serious pain and is off the scale, you probably need to address that by speaking to like a physio or your doctor, who'll advise you. As you get older, and I can vouch for this, aches and pains in the joints can be arthritic changes. Don't just sit on the cushion fighting this. You won't win. See your doctor, take their advice. I sometimes have to get off the cushion and sit in a chair to continue to breathe and practice. Remember, you're not failing, you're just getting feedback and you need to act on it. You may experience numbness or pins and needles in the legs. Again, use your common sense, and if it's too uncomfortable, change your position mindfully and then get back to focusing on the breath. Hallucinations are quite common when we meditate and are not unusual. I don't think you should take them as some sort of spiritual insight or some epiphany or awakening of the third eye, all right? These are simply distractions, are not to be treated no differently to the other distractions. You'll have both psychological and physical distractions. Always come back to the breath and the present moment. Remember, the whole point of meditation is staying in the present moment. Hallucinations, weird visions, feelings of rapture and bliss are simply creations of the mind and are not representative of reality. It's too easy to get swept away by them. They're no different than the distracting thoughts that we get. Someone told me to treat these sensations like mental static. Don't indulge them. Let them go. Boredom can also be something you experience in meditation, and again, it's just another mental state. Observe the boredom, and you'll find that by observing boredom, it actually starts to raise your level of curiosity and is no longer boredom. Like all thoughts and feelings, they arise and they will fade away. If you hang on to them, you're off into another state, a state that is not focused on the present moment. Drowsiness is another thing that we often get when we have to sit in meditation. I was taught an interesting technique many years ago called reverse breathing. It keeps you alert, allows you to return to your practice. So when we normally inhale, the chest rises, and when we exhale, the chest falls. Here's the trick. Do the reverse. Let the chest rise as you exhale and fall as you inhale. Just do it now. See what happens. See what happens to your level of attention. It always works for me, and I'm also rejuvenated by the practice, and it allows me to resume my meditation. In some of the Zen temples, they've got a man with a big stick and he whacks you when you start to fall asleep. Reverse breathing's a bit nicer than that, much nicer method, less bruises. Distracting thoughts we've discussed before. And remember, if not, take a look at your thoughts as trains of thought. Remember that? Now there's a thought. Sometimes sitting can bring up, well, strong emotions, and they seem to sort of bubble up predictably. You might burst into tears, or you might experience anger. Observe the emotion. Yeah, don't be judgmental. One of my students said that he experienced deep feelings of anger with himself about not being good at meditation. Yeah, well, because he wasn't doing it right. It was driving him mad. He had lots of conflicting thoughts. I told him to get off that train immediately. Observe it leaving the station. He did this, and then he was able to focus on the present moment. Sometimes we get discouraged in our practice by ourselves and by others. Listen to these discouraging ideas and let them go. Sometimes I think it might sound like a broken record. I must be. And that the words I keep telling you to keep going on are just some sort of cliche. I thought this too at first, and I thought, well, nothing could be that easy until you engage with the idea and do it. I know students tell me they will try this technique and try that, but actually few do it. It's a powerful mindset, thinking you should do something. But as humans, we're constantly bombarded by linguistic patterns that influence us. Trying something means or implies it won't work out. I tried to open the door, an example, and there's many others. Trying to come out of your house. Do it now, or don't do it now. But you mustn't try to meditate. In conclusion, all of these things have happened and continue to happen, even the most experienced meditators. Don't feel like this is something that is happening only to you. It's happened to the Buddha and many other highly skilled meditators throughout history. When the art of meditation was first created 2,500 years ago on the Gangetic Basin in ancient India, the samanas, the gurus, the teachers, all of these experienced these problems and dealt with them in a manner which I've been describing here today. It's not rocket science, it's very simple, and by keeping it so and by going back to the breath and simply observing what is happening in and around you puts you back in control, back in the driving seat. As one Zen teacher famously said, you should sit like a mountain. Let me leave you with this one thought. Just remember, we habitually react to our take on reality and not on reality itself.